here's how you can compare two assets to each other. This plus sign says compare or add symbol. Click it and you can compare pretty much any symbol, asset, whatever you want to really chart at the same time as another asset is right here available to you. And let's give you an example. Let's compare some big tech companies. So we type in Apple. We've added Apple as the main chart. Now let's go to compare. We click compare and let's compare Apple to Amazon. So we click Amazon, we type in Amazon first in the search field, and here's Amazon. Same percentage as scale, new price scale, new pane. These are the three options available to us. We'll go through each of these in this video. Let's click same percentage as scale. Now what we're doing is we're comparing Amazon, the orange line, to Apple here, the candles. And if we click compare again, we can type in Netflix and do the same percentage as scale. And now we've added Netflix, this teal line. So we are comparing three tech companies to each other on one chart, and we could continue to do this. So what's another name that we could compare? Why don't we add Facebook to this chart? Same percentage of scale. And Facebook now is going to be this yellow line, but because Facebook is more so known for its blue color, watch what we do here. We double click on the line, and as you can see, FB, NASDAQ, we know we have the Facebook settings open. Here's line, click. Let's do a Facebook blue. And this is actually a good point in the video to where we can show you how you can edit this chart to your needs exactly. So let's do some editing. Now we've changed the Facebook line to blue to match their color. Amazon to orange, that's perfect. Netflix is currently set to teal, but we all know that Netflix, its brand color is actually a red. So let's change the color to red. We have line, and as you can see, by the way, we have these options. So if we wanted to do candles, that's all we would have to do, and now we have Netflix as candles. Let's double click on this. Let's, by the way, you have all these options available. You could do an area chart for Netflix. But let's go back to a line chart. It's red, and this should be good. As you can see, you could start the price source from the open, high, low, close. It's all right here. Let's keep to close. That is quite common. And we are good to go. You see the input, Netflix. Now, this is our original Apple chart. It's set to a candlestick chart. Why don't we change that? Now, remember, when you compare symbols, the main symbol of the chart is still right here, Apple. Then you can see each symbol that we've added. For example, if we add another chart like Shopify, as you can see, Shopify has now been added here. So we can make quick adjustments this way by just, clicking the settings wheel to edit something. So if we wanted to change the Shopify color to green, if we wanted to increase its line thickness to make Shopify stand out, we could, but let's keep it similar to everything else. And by the way, this little eye icon will hide it from the chart. Let's keep Shopify hidden for now. The real thing is we have three lines and Apple is still on candlesticks. So we go to our main chart and we go to line, and there's Apple. And then for Apple, we will actually just do a black line for Apple. And there we have it. We are now comparing these four assets to one another. And here's where things get pretty fun. Down here, you have multiple different time frames you can click. So let's click 5 years. We are now looking at the percentage change between Amazon, Netflix, Apple, and Facebook. We could do 1 year to see who's outperforming. We could do year to date to see who's outperforming. We could do 6 months to see who's outperforming, 3 months, 1 month. You get the idea. Additionally, you can just zoom out like this, and the chart will update for you in real time. You can move your chart as you please, and it will adjust with you. If you change your main chart's interval to 1 week, well, it makes it a little easier to look at charts over the long term. If we go to a month, it makes it even easier. Check it out, 1981. Let's go back to daily and let's look at this from about a year. Let's just see who's outperforming. Apple's up 62%. Amazon's up 52%. Netflix is up 41%. Facebook is up 24%. So we can compare the assets to one another to see who's leading, who's performing best, who's performing worst, and then that can lead us to better decisions because, maybe you're a momentum trader. And for a momentum trader, well, this type of outperformance is noticeable. Apple's one of the best performing tech stocks over the last year. Facebook is lagging. See this? Facebook's lagging. Netflix, Amazon, and Apple. That is interesting. You have your strength here in Apple. It's the best performing of these four over the year. And Facebook, which is the worst performing of these four over the year. So that's really what you can do when you compare symbols on the same percentage scale. Now let's move on. Let's do a few more examples. So we're going to actually remove each of these symbols. We're going to keep up Apple here. And you can click compare, add symbol. And if you wanted to, let's say we did Bitcoin, BTC USD, you could go to new price scale. We're going to click that. Watch what that does. That opens up a brand new price scale on the left, Apple on the right. So now you have this two price scales at once. Why would you do this? This is really important if you want to study, for example, maybe candle similarities. Maybe you want to see if there's similar trading styles to both assets. You're not so much interested in the percentage gain. You're interested in the trading action. So here's what we did here. We have Apple. We changed it to candles. We have Bitcoin. We go to its settings, style candles. If we want to do hollow candles, now it's hollow, but let's go to candles. And now we can examine these two charts trading action at once. If you're having a hard time seeing the difference between the two because they're both candles, well, that's easy. Go to settings and make some adjustments to your candles. So for example, we could make this, we could kind of go to a much lighter green and we go to a much lighter red so that they really stand out and they are easy to see the differences in. So now we know that this lighter green and red is Bitcoin and this darker green and red is Apple, and we can try to study similar price action. Just see, are there any similarities, differences? Is there a pair trade here? Look at the size of this wick, for example, on Bitcoin. Someone bought this dip. Look at this candle on Apple, and maybe that's the sign of a pair trade. Maybe this is strength and this is weakness. Perhaps you go long one, short the other. Remember, we're not recommending anything. We're just trying to sort of get the thought process out there of what's possible. All right, let's remove this chart and move on because there is more that we would like to show you. If you click compare or add symbol, there's one more option available to you. Let's say now we want to do something that's really different and compare Apple, AAPL, to the dollar index, DXY. So we've already shown you same percentage scale. We've shown you new price scale. There's one more, there's new pane. If we click new pane, it opens up a completely different pane for us. It's almost like using the multi-chart layout. It's just another way to essentially see different assets on different assets in different panes, but on one chart in one workstation. Now let's change the settings of this just as we would any other chart. So we can change this to an area. Let's say we just want a simple area chart. And now what we're looking at, let's change actually also this to an area chart. But let's also make this easier to see because that line is hard to see. And what we can do now is we can actually go to here and type in Apple daily chart. And then of course we can type in DXY daily chart. So now we have these two daily charts, and we can use these two panes to just examine two completely different assets, but in the same visual. It's right in front of us. And if we zoom out, they will both move with us. If we zoom in, they will both move with us. Now, a few more quick tips about this. It's really important is why don't we go back to compare, and let's actually do the DXY, but do same percentage scale. Why don't we add another asset like oil, and let's do same percentage scale. And what we've done now is we've added oil and the dollar index, and now we're going to right click on the chart because we want to remind you of something important. When you're doing these comparisons, this is really important. Right now we have symbol last price label selected. When we uncheck this, see how the last values disappear? So it's really important you remember this. Check this box for these values to show up. So now we see oil's up 42%, Apple's up 9%, the dollar's up 2% over this time frame. Next up that we have checked is this symbol name value. So when we uncheck this, you see this, we don't see the names anymore. Now we check this, and now we see the name. So these are two super important boxes to check. Now, one more helpful tip about this is these are your percentage change over here on the right. And if you recall, when we had two price scales at once, there was one on the left. Well, just remember, you can always right-click on the scale, and all of these options are available to you. We will go through these in more detail, but if you need help adjusting your price scale, just right-click. And you can do things such as move scale to left, so move from here to over here. You can quickly change, say, to index to 100. You could quickly change to percent, so now it's a percent chart. And you could quickly change to regular, so now it's a regular chart. And these options are totally available to you. As you can see, labels, we have symbol name label, symbol less price label, our lines, price line, pre-post market. So right-clicking on this price scale can really help you get started. And why don't we move these scales back to the right for now? And then additionally, let's actually go back to a percent change. And then let's go to 5 years. That's too long, actually. Let's go to 1 year. 6 months. Perfect. Now we have Apple versus the dollar versus oil, 6 months. We can see who's performing the best. Oil, out of nowhere, up 45% over the last 6 months. Apple up just 1.8% and the dollar down 3%. That is how you can get started. And we hope that this video helped. Please leave any questions or comments below. The key to getting started is right here, compare or add symbol. Click this button, then type in the symbol that you want to compare. Then hover your mouse over that symbol, and you have these options available to you. We've shown you each of them. It's really as easy as that. So thank you for watching. Once again, please ask any questions or comments below. Our team will try to help you as soon as possible.